Over, she took her bag and left and told me tomorrow. That was the beginning of many erptic encounters. My next encounter was with this same girl. 2 days later, during recess, she said she wasn't feeling well, and during break, everyone had gone out. She stayed. Her head was down, and I was seated near my table taking notes. She suddenly stood up from where she was and headed to the cupboard at the back of the class. She opened the cupboard and pretended to be searching for some books. This was my riskiest experience. There, she shouted as if in pain, and I went over. She had knelt down, like a squat pose, her legs open to reveal a colorful pant. She just told me that she would be quick. She unzipped to my trousers and took it into her mouth. The sloppy sound and the way she cured her tongue around my shaft, pulling and sucking. I had held the cupboard door so anyone who enters the class may see me standing by the cupboard, but won't see the girl. She kept sucking for about minutes, and then I realized I was about coming. I tried to pull out, but she held my butt, and that was a signal to release in her mouth. Well, I did. She swallowed and went back to put her head down, and I resumed my duties. Occasionally, she would raise her head and smile. A girl suspected me. She became the next victim. Now, just so you know, I should probably describe the first girl. She is actually thick and tall, at least 5'6". This made her imposing, and whenever she wanted it, she did it with so much confidence that it weakened me. I would only be narrating the experiences and skip the troubles and other things that happened. The second girl was short, stout, busty, and had ass. She spoke 100% TYI, but always reply in English, and she seemed to like this vibe. The first girl and I kept having escapades, but this girl's experience is worth telling. My first experience with her was when she offered to escort me after the close of school. The other girl was bedridden and therefore absent. That's how she took her chance. We walked on a pathway leading to my bungalow. First she opted that we take certain detour, so that people won't see us. In my mind I was like, why then? She would plead. I obliged. Now, obliged because this girl's ass was too fine. No pun intended. It wasn't wobbly, it was firm and smooth. When she wears the pinafore or skirt, due to the size of the ass, the skirt seems to be hanging, and you could see that divide the two sections of the bottom. She had it. On our way she told me that she likes me, but she's noticed that the other girl is always with me. I told her I just help her with assignments. She was okay. As we were going, she told me she didn't understand a lesson taught today, so we should go to her place. So I explained, but her grandma is sick. We got to her house. She introduced me to her granny, who seemed sick and was lying in the inner room. We sat in the hall. She changed her uniform and came straight dressed. She took her books and sat close to me. We started with some normal learning, but occasionally she would shift her dress up, revealing her hole. She was angled towards me on the sofa, and when she does that, she always pretends nothing was wrong. The final straw was when she stood up and bent to take a dropped book. The view saw was too much. She turned her head and beckoned me to come. She signaled me to be quiet, so we do not disturb Granny. I inched closer, raised the dress, and plunged her from behind. She moaned and dropped to the doggy position. I followed the changed. She was wet all right, and this produced some squashy sound, which I presumed her grandma would definitely heard. I slowed my strokes to avoid coming early. It went on for some minutes. I bent over her and held her boobs while caressing the nipples. Her moans were becoming louder. Then my strokes also got faster. She calling me sir, and turned, looked me in the eye. Smiled. Minutes later I came. We were sweating devilishly. I sat on the sofa, tired. She was on the floor, leg opened, dripping. I told her I need to go, and I left. Guys, I have 2 more experiences which I would tell you probably later in the night or tomorrow. The experiences were many. They included a colleague, teacher, a single parent, and the community leader's daughter.